All right, everybody, I'm on the line right now with one of professional wrestling's biggest names. He's a two-time Hall of Famer. He's the stylin', profilin', limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, son of a gun, Nature Boy Ric Flair. How are you today?
I'm doing great, sir.
Everybody knows you in our circle from the professional wrestling world. You're multi-time world champion, and you recently launched a new app called Celebrity Slots. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Celebrity Slots, I'm fortunate that they reached out to me. They think enough of me as a celebrity to be involved with their project, and started talking about a year ago, and it came to fruition, and here we are, and now I'm doing some media for them. Not that they need it, because they've got a lot of big-name people involved, but I'm here talking about it, and looking forward to being an active member of it.
Yeah, some of the names on it, wrestling fans will be familiar with. Eva Marie, she's on there. Dennis Rodman, Amber Rose. There's a lot of big names on there that people are going to be familiar with. And each one of the boards for the slot machine graphics has custom Ric Flair graphics. It has your catchphrases. You're very involved in it. So can you talk about just working on the game itself and, making sure it was authentic to the Ric Flair brand?
Well, we just spent a lot of time, talking with the people that put it together, and then they came and we shot interviews that I was happy with, and the content is 100% me, which is something that is not always guaranteed. So, and I've known Dennis forever. Dennis spoke very highly of everybody, so talking about Dennis Rodman. And, it's an opportunity to throw my stuff on the wall and see how it fares against everybody else. Like everything else,
I've been playing it since I found out about it, and I've been having fun with it because I'm a video poker player, and I like slots. I don't really get too many chances to go, to Las Vegas or Atlantic City, especially now, but it's kind of like, it's cool because it's a pick up and play game. It's familiar. The music's really cool, and one of the cool things is you can win daily prizes. You can get gift cards, Ric Flair merchandise, and one of the things people can win is an autographed copy of your 30 for 30 DVD from ESPN, which, if you saw the documentary already, is one of the best ones they've done so far.
Well, thank you very much. It was voted one of the most, I think it was voted the most popular. Doesn't mean it got the highest ratings, but it did real well, thank you.
You've lent your name to many things over the years. How do you decide that, something is fitting to the brand? Because in real life and your character, Ric Flair is, as I said at the top of the call, limousine riding, wheeling, dealing. So, when you heard that this was a slots game, is that something that you just, it was right in your wheelhouse and you were like, all right, this is something that Ric Flair would do?
Like everybody else, I've got a lawyer that's smart. We've got an agent that's smart. And, you just don't jump into something like this without looking at it. We talked about it and kicked it around because you're right. You only want to lend your name to things that are going to be successful. Unfortunately, in life, not everything is guaranteed. But this looks like an opportunity. And I look at it as an opportunity that they gave me as much as, I'm giving them my name and my brand. So, I just think it's going to be a great vehicle of entertainment for people that roll with it. Right now, entertainment's at a premium.
Exactly. And if anybody wants to find out more about it, it's Celebrity Slots. You can find it on the Apple Store or Google Play Store. It's free to play, and if you want to sign up to win the prizes, you can sign up with your Facebook account and email account. I've done it myself. I downloaded it right away. Easy to play. You just download it, and yeah, it's fun. I'm like, honestly.
Yeah, cool. Well, there you go. That's an endorsement right there.
I mean it when I say, like, it really takes you in, because all the slots that I've ever played, it's very bright, and it's like, it's almost like a game show environment, and this it draws you right into it. So it's very fun to play.
Well, I'm glad you hear that. That's an endorsement right there.
The last we saw you on WWE TV, you realigned yourself with Randy Orton. And ever since then, he's been, if you want to call it this, he's been moving up the food chain, even though he's a multi-time world champion and he's up there already. But he's in the main event of SummerSlam with Drew McIntyre. So can you talk a little bit about just Orton still being at this stage in his career, being at the top of his game, and if you've noticed anything different in him since you guys were last together?
He's great. With parentheses around the word great. But it's in the course of your career, and Randy's been doing this I think 18 years now. It's close to doesn't seem possible, but he was that young when he came, and you're going to have guys that you work with that you have phenomenal matches with. You're going to have matches with guys that the chemistry is not quite as good. But Randy's at that level of his career, and his mindset is that good. He's in that good a place in his life personally that he's just on fire. He's taking the time to say, well, hey, this is, they want me to take this over. And, I don't know I don't know what the dialogue has ever been, but, they said, hey, show us why you're the guy. And he has. He has stepped out in front of the pack. He's always been great. But I feel like this might be, his greatest time. I mean, I can remember watching him and Seth Rollins in San Jose when Seth first came along, and that match had been at night rather than daylight. That might have been the best match at Mania that year. So, I mean, he never ceases to amaze me. He can do anything, he's healthy now. He had some shoulder issues, but he's healthy and strong. I mean, he looks like $1 million, and he in the ring, his performance is $1 million. So you can't ask for any more than that. And my saying, whether you like it or don't like it, you got to learn to love it, man. Because Randy, that's where he's at right now.
Yeah, and I think there is that portion of the audience that doesn't want to give him credit, but I think the thing that I really appreciate the most about him is he's been great for a long time, and it's just you really get to see it now, and it's almost like he's the measuring stick in WWE now, especially. And this is no slight to anybody that I mentioned, but Brock's not there and Cena's not there, and it was almost like people held John Cena to that standard, but Randy's been there just as long, and
it wouldn't have ever been Brock or Cena. Right now, it would be AJ.
But I mean, even to that point, it's like Orton's always almost like had a chip on his shoulder. He knows how good he is, and we know how good he is, but he never really gets. I feel like he's underappreciated.
Well, but here's the thing. It's because and that doesn't mean I'm talking about because of the fact that John and I got to clarify that because people go upside down. It's because they're not there full time. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right now, to me, if it's going to make a difference in the product, unless you're like on a 6 month where a clock will come in for 6 months, and he's the focus, and he's like this world-class athlete, which we still marvel at today. This guy that is 280 pounds that can do anything, and he is like a world-class athlete. But when he's not there, and John is part-time now, then you got to find someone that's going to be there that can carry it in every category. And I think that Randy's in that place right now. And, everybody's going to get that opportunity. Some people can pull it off, some can't. He right now, currently, in my estimation, is pulling it off.
Yeah, and I think it's worth clarifying because, as you pointed out, people are going to be like, oh, Rick said this. Like, no, that's not what we meant. Like, it's just...
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking... I meant they're not here right now. Does that make sense? So I'm talking about when you're doing an interview, people go, well, that... He said that, but I wasn't talking about 6 months ago or more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm clarifying myself because if I went at it at a roundabout way, people are gonna they're gonna listen to what you said and ignore how I set it up. So I completely get what you're saying. It's just
something negative what you're saying, and it goes. Flair says Cena and Lesnar are no good. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're not currently working and haven't for the last couple of months. So, and they've given Randy, who kicked this thing off at Mania, or not Mania, the pay-per-view before, at Mania, and then they had the match that unfortunately Edge was third in, but it's not just his in-ring performance, his interviews are just, God, he's just killing it on the mic. Yeah. And a totally different style than Ric Flair. I have my way of, bragging and da-da-da. He knows how to, his delivery, and he's turning up the volume, turning it down. The facial, looking at the camera, I mean, that's a gift, and he's got it. So, it's just, I feel like he is so comfortable and so confident right now that anything they give him, he will make the best. And if he's wrestling, if that match takes place, I look for him back in tire to tear it down.
Yeah, and on the other side of the ring, after, we just put over Randy so much, Drew's on the other side, so that's going to be a big test for him, but I think finally, if fans haven't caught on to him yet and seen what he can do, I think this is the perfect opportunity, and Randy's the perfect opponent to really show what he's about and what he's been able to do to improve his career since coming back.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that'd be, once again, if giving Drew the ball on the other side of the court, and it's a big ball to carry. Everybody thinks being a world champion is easy. But you're the champion, man. You're a lot of responsibility. It's not, you're not totally responsible for drawing the house like it used to be when I was the champion, where everybody was going, oh, God, look at the house, and we can da-da-da-da. Thank God most of my career we were sold out, but there were days when it wasn't. And man, you look at one person, you're going to be the guy, you're going to get paid more money, you better be putting some numbers up.
Yeah.
Trust me. Because that can be, the dressing room can be, you can walk in and they can say, God, the advance is this, it's going to sell out, or the advance is the shit, and we're going to do nothing, and why? I don't know. Let me get out there and hear the crowd, and I'll say when I get back. So, it's a position that everybody wants to be the champion, and everybody wants to be called the best, but man, you can be, it can be something that can keep you up at night, especially if you take it serious. I feel like Drew takes it very serious. And I thought the interview that he did, it really defined him since he's been back at that sit down when he was getting ready for Mania, talking about, which I didn't know. I knew he was there before, but I didn't know the whole history. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you spell it out, like they did in that sit down interview, I believe it was with Charlie, could have been Renee, but where he talked about him coming in and being the chosen one and all. I didn't remember that. I thought, man, this is the way to get the story out. And Drew was very, very good on that. And I think he's more comfortable in formats like that than he is standing out there in the middle of the ring. So it's if I'm watching it, I feel like he's more comfortable like that. So I hope that along the lines, along this promotional trail or trip that they're going to be on, that they do another one-on-one with him, and like, you know, what does it mean to be going up against Randy Orton? I mean, because Randy is right now, and those are the kind of things that everybody finds something else or something compelling. To me, those are the kind of things where it's as close to the best as it's comfortable to talk about, but it's real. Yeah. And like, I didn't know that, and I liked the way he conducted himself in that interview. Of course, that's my choice, and what do I know about wrestling?
Yeah, and I mean, as much as I can praise his speaking skills, he's a really nice guy too, because one of my favorite interviews I've ever done actually was with him, and it was in between his WWE tenure. It was at WrestleCade, and we were talking throughout the day, and he was just, he ended up having to leave early, and he was like, oh, I got to pull it short, and he was like, you know what? He's like, help me get out of here, and I'll walk and talk with you. And he literally was like, take out your camera, and I walked along with him, and he like cut this promo about how hard he's working, and it was just so much fun, and that was even before he re-signed. So
yeah, I'll tell you when he won me over. When I said to him one day, because he's a big dude, and like he's got a phenomenal physique. I said to him one day, I said, you're never going to kick me with that Claymore. I got news for you. Just kidding him, right? And he said, well, after wrestling Brody all those times, that my Claymore's nothing. And I thought to myself, well, here's a kid that understands the history of the business. And that's one of the things I like about Randy. He gets where I've been. Mm-hmm. Wrestling Bruiser Brody was a handful for an hour, 100 different times. So, and it was in there. So, anytime I get that kind of I feel that kind of passion from a guy that understands where I've been from and what I had to do to be successful and what it meant to be champion when I was champion, which was the do-all, end-all, man. If you were the WWE champion in the 80s, you were the man. No pun intended.
One other, I just thought of this. Another thing that I caught at that, it was like, I think it was 3 years ago, but you were doing a signing, and this was when Charlotte was just called up, and this little girl came up to you, and she was wearing the Doing It with Flair shirt, and you were signing an autograph, and I was at like one of the tables next to me, and you noticed her, and you were like, you know what, and you, not like rude or anything, like you were polite, you're like, you know what, let me check this out, and you called the girl over, and you're like, that's really cool, and you're like, do you mind if I send this to my daughter, and you took a picture with her and sent it. I thought that was the coolest thing, because at that time I had newborns, and I feel like, maybe you can relate that wrestling took on a different meaning now that you have kids and you can share it with them.
I do that all the time if I see something cute with a little girl dressed up like Ashley or with some of her stuff on, and I take those pictures all the time, send them to her. I just bug her all the time. But you can't get away from me. Dad, please. But that's just my way of, it gives me a reason to send her a text without bugging her.
Yeah.
We're very close, and there's nothing more special than the bond between your father and a father and a daughter.
Absolutely. Before I got on the phone, I told my one daughter, she calls Charlotte, she's like the queen of wrestling. So I was like, who I'm talking to? She's like, who? I'm like, the queen's dad. She's like, really? And she got really excited, and I'm like, at least I can put it on that level, but
yeah, she is the queen, boy.
Yeah, but
no shit.
I know it. I think they're still in the superhero phase, but I think they're finally starting to pick up on it because they're at that age where they're
You're
watching
good.
with me and I'm
Yeah.
happy enough. So,
Oh, yeah.
like, I think the general assumption is, you guys have a not only a father-daughter relationship, but like a mentor-mentee. Like, do you kind of see that changing where you can kind of just enjoy watching her career instead of, giving advice and...
I don't give her advice. I swear I don't. People have always said that. I cannot take credit for any of that. She has found her way on her own. And that's the honest to God truth. I mean, I will tell her, all I do is say, you're great. That's the extent of my involvement. Because she is. And I just reinforce to her how good she is. And I'm not embellishing. I'm not lying. She's that good. She's that much better. And that's just the way it is. And I don't even have to think twice about it. I just think that, like I said yesterday, that whole woman's evolution, they celebrated that, I think it was last week with the 5-year anniversary. But like I said, they didn't just serve notice to the women in the industry. They served notice to the guys. I mean, the women's evolution, they took it to a whole new level. And, man, they put the guys on notice. Hey, we're coming in and, either outwork us or get in line. That stuff with Rhonda and Becky and Ashley, that garage fight that they had, I'm sure you remember that. I mean, they said right there, we're the main event of WrestleMania. And they were, and they deserved to be. And people waited 6.5 or 7 hours to see them. That was them doing it, from Stephanie McMahon introducing them, which made it even bigger. From that moment forward, the women's division has changed.
Yeah, I was there for that event, and it really was, like you said, it was. People started complaining about the length of shows, but then once that match started, you can really feel the crowd.
Yeah.
Their demeanor changed,
and they were complaining, but nobody left.
Yeah, and there was excitement finally after, and that's not a slight on any other match that came before it, but you can tell the show was getting long, and then as soon as the main event started, there was an energy again.
Exactly. So, and that wasn't the first time. That match they had in Dallas with Becky and Sasha, and Charlotte that triple threat was phenomenal too. I mean, that was when Lita presented the new belt. I mean, so many moments she's had tonight with Asuka. She had the best match at WrestleMania that year. I mean, it's just, in 5 years, it's hard to fathom what she's accomplished. And just the number of great matches are countless right now. And there's so many more to come.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when she first came on TV, that's Ric Flair's daughter, but I think you've even mentioned it before. Now it's your Charlotte's dad. And yeah, I just said that. I told my daughters a half hour ago. Yeah, it's Charlotte's dad.
Yep, that's all I've ever been. That's how I want it to be. That's how it needs to be played. That's somebody else's expression. The Ric Flair's daughter. That's not. Yeah, she was when she went down there, but now, in terms of the wrestling business, I'm just her dad.
Yeah, it's great that not only you can watch her succeed, but sit back that way and just appreciate what she's doing.
Yep.
So one other thing that's really been popular lately is the cinematic wrestling match, and everybody wants to talk, and this goes to show how talented Undertaker and AJ Styles are, but there's been a lot of these matches since, and you've been involved in some theatrical things, like you did the Black Scorpion, if you want to put it in that category. Maybe not the match, but just the
not bring up the Black. We were having such a great interview.
Well, but then there was if you want to call it a low point, but like the WCW, the psychiatric stuff, but your work isn't just.
Would you call that a low point?
I enjoyed it, but I mean,
hey, I can pull off anything, man. They want crazy, I'll give them crazy.
okay. But, I'm just, those examples are showing your range because people want to say, oh, Ric Flair, like this match, this promo, but you can do scripted content.
Yeah, all the haters try pulling that off. Get checked into the Florida mental institution. One flew over the Cocos nest with Ric Flair. Shaved my head. What else do you want to do? Cut my hair. Put an earring on me, like call me Spartacus.
I think that's a whole nother conversation.
yeah, but I mean, name one wrestler that's been through half of that shit. Because promoters just couldn't fathom someone being that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
what can we do to screw this up for them?
You'd be hard pressed to find somebody else that's on that list with you.
Absolutely, you can't give me a name. I'll give you till tomorrow. Think about it, and then give me a name tomorrow.
So getting back to the cinematic matches, I was going to ask, since you've been able to dabble in that a little bit and seeing what the cinematic style has become, is that something that interests you now? Because it's so much different than the wrestling that you were used to, even the scripted stuff.
Well, I can certainly appreciate it, because the genius of Kevin Dunn is just second to none. This guy is, Kevin is as intricate a part of the WWE as Vince is, and he just is a genius. So, don't think he could be doing everything if he wanted to be elected to be in Hollywood. I mean, the stuff that this company produces, I think the first time I took Wendy out on the field was in New York, or maybe it was San Jose, when she could actually look into every stadium and look at the setup, the Jumbotron and everything. I mean, you've got to be there to see what these guys do every year and build in this WrestleMania thing. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious to anybody that follows sports like I do that everybody, football to start with, but now NBA, basketball, everybody is taking shit that they've learned from the WWE and applied it to their to the entertainment side or the structure of a special event like the All-Star Game and all that. On WWE, what are you thinking? I mean, that's where they got it all.
Yeah.
And everybody gets something from us, and we don't get the credit for it. They don't get the credit for it, not me, but they don't.
Yeah.
But think about it.
Yeah, the production is second to none.
Yeah, production values are absolutely second to none. And he spares no expense to make that product better. That's the name of the game.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to the second half of this year from WWE? Something you want to see, or just a match you might be interested in?
No, of course. I'm just waiting. I think SummerSlam's going to be huge. I don't know what all the cards will be, but I think that that's a marquee match to start out. And that's the first one I'm aware of. I've heard about some of the others, but I don't want to comment because I don't know if that's in place. I'm assuming that we'll have to watch on TV that it will be Orton or McIntyre. No, I just think that they're gonna keep producing a superior product, and that they're gonna exhaust this pandemic. Hopefully, that we'll get through it and just look for a greater days. But they will never stop entertaining because of the pandemic. They will continue to work hard and see it through.
I'll get you out on this, and it's a feature I've been doing that really started with the pandemic and quarantine. I've been asking for match recommendations for a watch list while people are at home, and I wanted to ask you if if you could pinpoint one match in your career that really exemplifies who you are as a wrestler, what would it be? And then is there a modern match that you really have an appreciation for?
Well, I think, and I get this because I've listened to other people do interviews about me and that. I think that, you either do Nashville or Chicago with me or Steamboat, and then you do the I Quit with Funk. Two different extremes. Or a cage match with me and Dusty. I like the matches with Sting, but I think the best representative of me is Steamboat. I think that, that match, you could put it on right now and it would get a number. The quality is still really good on the tape, and Chicago or Nashville. The hour match dragged in the middle of New Orleans, but the Nashville and Chicago, we did our usual pace. Not as long as we normally go, but then of course, then me and Terry and I Quit. It was something else, but there's so many. I'm just proud and honored that I was, able to be in that position and be wrestling those guys. For every great wrestler that had a great match, you had to have a great opponent.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was lucky to have some great opponents from the day I started.
How about a modern match? Anyone that you just watched recently, like a new match that you really, really enjoyed watching?
Oh, I loved watching Edge and Randy.
The first or the second one?
Second one.
I mean, I enjoyed them both, but I really think they caught lightning in a bottle with the second one.
First one had all the gimmicks in it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But they went out there and they had a hell of a wrestling match in that second one, and I thought it lived up to everything that it was supposed to. They're both great. I'm glad that Edge is able to come back after this time, and trust me, it is so hard to come back after you've been, they're not after being off for any period of time, and to go wide open. Number one, just cardiovascular wise, but to compete and get slammed around and all that. So yeah, you got to look at all the the extenuating factors that were put into that, and for them to pull that off, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that he got injured, but the match that they aired and they put on, I couldn't have been happier with it.
No, I don't think anybody else could be. I mean, it just lived up to it, and it was long.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't any 5-10 minute deal.
Yeah.
So it just was great. I thought that the match that Charlotte had with Asuka on Raw, prior to being injured by Nia Jax, was a hell of a match. But she and Asuka have that phenomenal chemistry.
Yeah.
So I thought that Sasha and Asuka were great.
Yeah, that was a good matchup. I hope they revisit that. And when Charlotte comes back, I really hope they revisit Asuka and Charlotte, because they do have great chemistry together.
Oh, phenomenal. She and Sasha too. So that's just so much for her to do, and those are the things to look forward to. That it's just a little break and then come right back in, and it's like a whole new day. So, and after 5 years, every day, I can't wait for her to get back.
Yeah, I think the anticipation's there, and Raw's women's title picture's in good hands. So, Rick, thank you very much for your time today. If fans want to check out the app, it's Celebrity Slots on Apple Store, Google Play Store. Ric Flair, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.